It's Sunday night. This is Stan the spokesman, in the study on a Sunday night, just kind of thinking out loud as I put my mind, heart, and spirit fully into the evening before me so I can be ready for the week that is before me when Monday meets the marketplace after a good day of rest and worship. Hey, I've got a lot to be thankful for. 25,000 things to be thankful for, at least, by the end of the day. And I have a lot to be thankful for in addition to that, because truly, little things mean a lot. And then I'd like to talk about bullying. We hear that Donald Trump and others like him are bullies. Do you think that's true? Well, I've got a little strong word for you if you'll be open to it. And then I was questioned by somebody who said, you said you wanted people who were elite in your new institute. Really? Well, what do you mean by that? Good question. If you'll stick with me, I'd like to answer some of those questions, and hopefully they'll be helpful to you as you meet the week that is before you. I'm Stan Houston. The program begins right now.
Blow me a kiss from across the room. Say I look nice when I'm not. Touch my hair as you pass my chair. Little things mean a lot. Give me your arm as we cross the street. Call me at 6 on the dot. A line a day when you're far away. Little things mean a lot.
Indeed, I do confess that old song is one of my favorite songs, and I get to play it on this Sunday evening. I was quite young when it first appeared, when a wonderful, beautiful young woman named Christy Callan recorded that song in 1954. Yes, I wasn't very old, but I was around, so that obviously gives me some dating and some perspective on who I am and where I am all about. As I've said before, I'm kind of old school in many ways, and my daughters would say, yes, Dad, you most certainly are. Well, a couple things. First of all, I am trying very much to take that song very seriously. Little things mean a lot, because you see, in my business of trying to help people kind of make the mark, do what it takes, you have a variety of big things that you can do. And the people who are in this somewhat business or sometimes racket, and unfortunately every business becomes a racket unless someone steps forward and brings that business back into the blessed state of being touched by God's Spirit. And I really mean that. Every business, every political thing, every operation, the proverbial, an idea becomes a movement becomes an organization becomes a business, and a business becomes a racket. Unless there are spirit force men and women who are at the helm, who are strongly directed, they will be the people, if they can, who may keep that racketeering mode from setting in. But obviously, as we see the world today, as we see business today, as we see much of politics today, as we see education today, in many cases we're right there between the business and the racket. So, with that in mind, I want to talk about a few things that might be helpful just in the little things. I'm going to be speaking a lot now in my coaching and my what it takes to you is to oftentimes talk about little things. Now, recently, I decided to put together a program on 3 simple things, which I've learned a great deal about, even though in learning a great deal about them, I have found that there is so much more that I don't know and still don't know about the value. First of all, sleeping. I have listed as one of the 7 vital skills that you will need going forward in post-COVID times is you're going to have to learn how to sleep and find out how to do that and do it better. And don't get me going on that, because more and more I'm discovering, both personally and with people I talk about, that even that pillow man guy is right. Now, he's certainly a pitch man, but if the idea is that your life will be better if you get a better night's sleep, we kind of dismiss that because we certainly know people who are doing well, who are up all night. Yes, but it is true that in effect, sleep is important. Thirdly, prayer is important. We don't do it very much, but more and more, this activist, this go-getter, this high energy, too intense, and I am, too ferocious in some cases. My wife says, Stan, sometimes you're intense that he even scares me. And I know you. Can you imagine what it might do to others? Yeah. So, prayer. That was the third thing. But of course, number 2, it's breathing. And I've just come across, and perhaps you'd like to join me in it, it's called Breath, the New Science of a Lost Art. And James Nestor has really challenged me by showing me that I could really improve my life in many ways by doing better breathing. Just a little thing. He also reminded me that individuals take an average of 25,000 breaths a day. Yet 90% of the population breathes improperly. Breathing impacts all parts of the body, and failing to practice it efficiently not only exacerbates, but creates numerous chronic illnesses, including asthma, anxiety, sleep apnea, and high blood pressure. Though it seems as simple as inhaling and exhaling, the act of breathing is an overlooked art form that can do much more than just sustain life. And that's what journalist James Nestor explores in various and unexpected paths in search of the science and the everyday experience behind the life-altering power of a single breath. So I'm getting this from an excerpt of a book I'm reading. It's simply called Breath, the New Science of a Lost Art Form by James Nestor. I think you ought to look that up. 25,000 breaths a day. I am thankful for each and every one of them. And I have said now in my thoughts and prayers and my communication with the spirit of transcendence. By the way, we're going to be talking about the fact sometime this week that all of you are capable of doing supernatural acts. And that's part of true success. But to be thankful. So every breath is a gift. You know, the thing that finally kills at COVID time is you can't breathe anymore. You can't breathe anymore. So every breath is a simple gift from God. Little things. A breath means a lot. 25 times, 25,000 times to say thank you every day. I'm Stan Houston. It's Sunday night, and we're in the study. Now let's talk about being a bully. And of course, when you heard that, many of you thought about our president. And of course, we pray. I don't care what your prejudice may be in terms of Donald Trump. And hardly anyone is neutral on the man. He is, as my editor used to say about my book, she said, Stan, you don't want people to like it, you want them to love it or hate it. And Donald Trump is an open book, and that is true of most of the responses that people have for him and about him. And now, of course, he's sick, and we're supposed to pray for him. Yes, no matter what your thoughts, do the unnatural, even if you don't like him, even if your feelings are stronger than that. Do a supernatural act. Pray for him. Pray for his family. Pray for his good health. And pray for his recovery. There you go. Do that. Now, one of the reasons, and I'm not going to get into the politics of it, but recently I had a conversation with a good friend, and he told me, because I don't ever start the conversation, but he decided he was going to start the conversation, and he started to talk about the election, and I just listened to him, and I said, what are you going to do? And he said, well, I'm going to try and get rid of Trump. And I said, okay, why? He said, well, he is such a bully. I've never seen such a bully. And I just listened to him, and I simply asked this question, has he ever bullied you? Of course not. Well, how do you know? One of my favorite mentors was a guy in St. Paul, Minnesota, and he doesn't know it, but his name was Joe Soucheray, and he was a columnist who just started his own talk show, and it became a very, very popular one, and he's doing it still. He had a series of electronic voices that would come in. And whenever a guest or a caller would come in and make some kind of a statement that, was truly up in the air or up for debate, he would press a button and this deep electronic voice would come on and say, we don't know that. Yeah, your opinion. What the people say, but we don't know that. Well, let me just simply say this as for your thought and consideration. If you think Donald Trump is a bully, you've never met a real one. I mean that. I have. You have. And let me tell you, he's rough and tumble and tough, and he pushes hard. But if you think Donald Trump is a bully, you've never met a real bully. And right now, some of you are shaking your head and say, you're right, Stan, because you've been abused and hurt and your life destroyed by a real bully. There's lots of them out there. As I often said about one particular industry, I'm sorry, but many of their top performers are sociopaths. They really are. And they're on top because they are bullies. And they're really good at being one. Just a thought. We're almost done for Sunday night, but I just want you to think about that. Pray for the president and his recovery no matter what. And before you take the comment, he's such a bully, seriously, pray that you will never in your life have a real bully. I'm Stan. We've got just a few minutes left, and we're done. Would you like to be one of the elite? Well, of course, right now, in a very interesting way, of course, part of the populist revolution and part of what motivates some of the thoughts about Donald Trump has been his attacks on the elite. And he's talking about the definition of those people who are running things, who are in power, who think they're better than everybody else, and we have to do something, kind of knock down the elite. The reason it came up in my recent video in which I talked about the kind of people who are 3% of the population, who are humble but elite. Elite humbles. Humble elites. And the reason for that is very simple. Here's a definition of what it means to be an elite. A select part of a group that is superior to the rest in terms of ability or qualities. Elite. Elite, in its best sense, means that you've taken the time to work very, very hard, to be really, really good at what you do and who you are. I said to one of my friends in church today, I said, John, you are such a Christian gentleman. And he said, thank you. And then he smiled and said, and Stan, I have to work very hard at being that. And I smiled. I just want to point out to you that when we talk about please joining our group, it's not because we think we're better or smarter or cleverer or we have more money, and most of the things like power, money, and influence that we use to define the elite are phonies. They're frauds. They're not true. But if we use the term elite to say, God has made me fast, and when I run, I feel His pleasure. I've been made to do this, and so I work very hard at being good at it. And I want to share that and demonstrate it and help others with it. If that's what you want to be, and if that's perhaps what you're striving to be, or maybe that's where you're almost at, you are a part of the elite. And good for you. More power to you. Hey, I'm done. I'm going to get ready for the day. I have an incredible week ahead of me. I wish you would pray for me. A number of difficult issues I have to make my life, my business, and the whole thing work well. And I need particularly to remember that little things mean a lot. And so I need to do them, and I need to give thanks for them. And I am grateful and thankful for you. I'd love to hear from you. Love to have you on the program. That would mean a lot to me, that little thing. StanHusted@gmail.com. StanHusted@gmail.com. We'll be back. And we'll be back this week with a number of thoughts, and we hope that you will join us then. But remember, be one of God's chosen elite. Be aware of the bullies. Be at your best. And take care. Bye for now.
Blow me a kiss from across the room. Say I look nice when I'm not. Touch my hair as you pass my chair. Little things mean a lot. Give me your arm as we cross the street. Call me at 6 on the dot. a line a day when you're far away. Little things mean a lot. Don't have to buy me diamonds and pearls, champagne, sables, or such. I never cared much for diamonds and pearls, 'cause honestly, honey, they just cost money. Give me your hand when I've lost the way. Give me a shoulder to cry on, whether the day is bright or gray. Give me your heart to rely on. Send me the warmth of a secret smile to show me you haven't forgot. For always and ever, now and forever, little things mean a lot. Give me your hand when I've lost the way. Give me your shoulder to cry on, whether the day is bright or gray. Give me your heart to rely on. Send me the warmth of a secret smile to show me you haven't forgot that always and ever, now and forever, little things mean